Today, we're talking about what are, at least in my opinion, the 10 greatest movie cars of all time. And what would it cost to get hold of a similar car today? I'm Sean, and this is Ride or Drive. Let's start with the usual suspects. Not the movie, but the cars that appear on most people's lists. These are the outrageous, fast, and often larger-than-life hero cars we all love, and of course, they get a mention.
Stay calm.
First up, we have the Tumbler from Batman Begins. Now, I'm not going to lie, the Christian Bale trilogy, for me at least, is the best collection of Batman films ever produced. And personally, I love the Lamborghini that features in these films, but that wasn't really the star. The Tumbler Batmobile is one of the most iconic movie cars of all time. But when you think about it, it's not just a car. It's a tank, on wheels, built for destruction and stealth. And let's not forget, it actually gives birth to a motorbike. So that's like the full package. Now, I'm clearly not Batman, but I'd love to have a go at driving this thing. The Tumbler was designed specifically for the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. Powered by a 5.7 litre V8 and producing around 500 horsepower, this incredible car could hit 60 miles per hour in around 5.6 seconds, which is actually really impressive for a vehicle that looks like it could take down a building. What's more, the Tumbler itself was actually a fully functional car, and you can get yourself a real Tumbler, but get ready to drop around $1 million or £600,000. Is that worth it? Let me know what you think. Now, moving on to the next car on our list, we've got Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds. This 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500 isn't just a car, it's a star. I love this movie, even in spite of one of the cringiest scenes in car cinema history. Now, you may know the one, where we get to see Nick Cage and Angelina Jolie's characters using car metaphors to get each other going.
Throttle linkage, clutch master solenoid, straight inline 6.
Yeah, that happened. Memphis, you rascal. But what about Eleanor? In the movie, Ellie is equipped with a 7 litre V8 producing over 500 horsepower. With custom bodywork, racing seats and that iconic Go Baby Go nitrous button, Eleanor is a car enthusiast's dream. Eleanor became such an icon that demand for replicas skyrocketed after the movie. Today, an authentic Eleanor replica can sell for between $150,000 and $300,000 in the US, and depending on the quality and details of the build, some have fetched even higher prices at auction. In the UK, I've seen this advertised for around £170,000. Now, let's face it, we couldn't have a top movie car list without mentioning this. Of course, I'm talking about Dom's 1970 Charger from the Fast and Furious movies. For me, the Fast and Furious franchise was a huge deal growing up, and at a time when the modded car scene was massive in the UK. I don't know if anyone else there remembers things like Max Power magazine, but these films created a generation of petrolheads. And for a franchise that has literally hundreds of iconic cars, Dom's Charger stands out as a character in its own right. And in a movie that's all about family, this Charger is at the heart of it all. Dom's Charger packs a 426 Hemi V8 with an incredible 900 horsepower. That iconic blower sticking out of the hood is not just for show. After the first film, interest in classic Chargers skyrocketed, and today a well-maintained original Charger RT from 1970 can cost anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000, or around £150,000 in the UK. The movie replicas, or ones with similar modifications, can push the higher end of that range. Now, side note, I don't know about you, but I think they should have ended the saga after the tragic passing of Paul Walker. They've milked that franchise for what seems like 97 films now, and I think it's gone a little too crazy. Now, before we move on to the rest of the usual suspects in movie cars, I've been thinking, what actually makes for a great movie car? Does it have to be fast, stunning, powerful, or completely outrageous like the Tumbler? Sometimes yes, but not always. To be a great movie car doesn't mean the car itself has to be great. In fact, some of the cars on my list are frankly rubbish cars. But they all have something in common. They were such a key part of the movie they feature in, they practically became stars in their own right. We'll talk about some of these later in the video. In at number 4 we have a car which, like me, is all about class. The Aston Martin DB5 from the James Bond films. Suave, cool and sexy, the DB5 is the epitome of sophistication. But for Bond, it's served with a side of lethal. This thing has guns, and it's absolutely loaded with gadgets. The DB5 first appeared in Goldfinger, and thanks to Bond it became one of the most recognisable cars in the world. Powered by a 4 litre straight 6, the DB5 delivers 282 horsepower and a top speed of 145 miles per hour. It's fast, it's sleek, and it's got more tricks up its sleeve than Q himself. For me, this is a perfect example of when the Bond movies were more fun. I feel like it's way too serious now. Let's bring back the crazy gadgets and frankly ridiculous storylines. The more recent films feel like they're trying to be too gritty and real, which is not really Bond. Bond has always been a little bit silly, you know? Anyway, original DB5s, especially those with connections to the Bond films, can sell for upwards of $1 million or around £700,000. At auction, some DB5s are even sold for over $3 million depending on their provenance and condition. But hey, that's the price of living the Bond lifestyle. In at number 5, yes, I know, it's another Mustang, but I really don't think I could avoid mentioning one of the most famous movie cars of all time. It's the Mustang that started it all, the 1968 GT390 from Bullitt. With Steve McQueen behind the wheel, tearing through the streets of San Francisco in one of the most iconic car chases ever filmed, this is the car that made the Mustang a star. The Mustang GT390 was equipped with a 6.4 litre V8 engine producing 325 horsepower. It wasn't by any means the fastest car on the road, but in McQueen's hands it became legendary. After the film, the GT390 became one of the most sought after models, thanks in part to that iconic chase scene. The original movie car sold for a reported $3.74 million back in 2020. If you're enjoying this so far, please do let me know in the comments down below, and please do subscribe to the channel, it would mean the world to me. The cars we've spoken about so far are great, but to be a movie hero car, the car itself doesn't have to be a hero. Some cars that are the most memorable in movies haven't been good at all, but they're perfect for their role and become iconic in their own right. And we're going to talk about these next. But before we move on to those, let's take a moment to talk about a movie car that isn't really, well, a car. And technically it wasn't even in the movie. Alright, it definitely doesn't qualify for this list. But in the UK at least, it's about as iconic as they get. Our bonus entry for today, the Reliant Regal from Only Fools and Horses. With its free wheels and canary yellow paint job, the Reliant Regal became a symbol of British comedy. And sure, it's slow, and sure, it's a bit of a joke. But that's what makes it so beloved. Today you can pick one up for around £5,000 to £10,000. Alright, I really couldn't not mention the Reliant, but let's be honest, it doesn't count. So let's get back to the big screen and talk about some cars that might not be sleek or fast, but are unforgettable for entirely different reasons. In at number 6 is Bumblebee from Transformers. Now here's a car that isn't just a car, it's a freaking Autobot. And here's a fun fact, Bumblebee wasn't actually a real Camaro in the first film. Yet, the 2007 Camaro was still a concept at the time, so what you see on the screen is actually a modified 5th gen replica. The design of the Camaro with its bold aggressive lines made it the perfect choice for a character like Bumblebee. After the film, interest in the Camaro spiked, and when the real model finally hit the market, it flew off the shelves. Today, a well-kept 2007 Camaro will set you back around $30,000 to $40,000, which is around £31,000. But if you want a replica like Bumblebee, be prepared to pay a little more. Who are you going to call? In at number 7, we have a car, well, ambulance, that isn't just iconic, it's spooky. EctoOne from Ghostbusters is probably one of the most recognisable movie cars ever. Originally a 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor ambulance. Now that is a mouthful, and I've had to say it about 100 times now. EctoOne was transformed into the ultimate ghost hunting machine. It's big, it's loud, and let's be honest, it's a little bit ridiculous. But that's what makes it so perfect. This particular caddy was a popular choice for ambulances and hearses back in the day, thanks to its massive size and powerful 6.3 litre V8 engine. In the movie, EctoOne is decked out with all sorts of ghost-busting gear, from proton packs to ghost traps. And after the success of the original Ghostbusters movie, this car became a cultural icon. Now, if you want to own your own EctoOne, good luck. Restored versions cost anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000 depending on the condition and modifications. Now, this may be the least iconic car on the list, but it's got a special place in my heart. In at number 8 is the 2006 Subaru Impreza WRX from Baby Driver. Now, why have I picked this? Because I had the exact same car in blue and I absolutely loved it, so I had to include it here. In Baby Driver, the Scooby isn't just a getaway car, it's a symphony on wheels. The way the action is synchronised with music is absolute genius. The WRX with its 2.5 litre turbocharged engine and all-wheel drive is the perfect choice for this kind of high-octane precision driving. If you want to relive your own Baby Driver fantasies, you can find a 2006 WRX for around $20,000 to $25,000 today, and in the UK I've seen it advertised for around £8,000 to £15,000. Just remember to set your playlist before you hit the road. Speaking of awesome playlists, let's talk about the AMC Pacer from Wayne's World. In at number 9, this car is as quirky as the movie itself, and that's what makes it so memorable. The Pacer was marketed as a wide, small car back in the 1970s, with its bubble-like design and spacious interior, but in Wayne's World it became the ultimate party car. Who could forget that iconic Bohemian Rhapsody scene? Now the Pacer wasn't exactly a powerhouse with its 3.8 litre straight six engine producing a modest 90 horsepower, but it was quirky and that's why it worked. After the movie, the Pacer gained a cult following and today you can pick one up for around $15,000 to $20,000. And finally, a car that needs no introduction, the DeLorean DMC12 from Back to the Future. This car didn't just travel through time, it became a cultural phenomenon. With its gull-wing doors and stainless steel body, the DeLorean was already unique, but after Doc Brown turned it into a time machine, it became legendary. Originally, the DeLorean wasn't exactly a hit. Built between 1981 and 1983, it had a 2.85 litre V6 that produced around 130 horsepower, which is not exactly mind-blowing. But after Back to the Future, the DeLorean became an icon of 1980s pop culture. Today, a well-preserved DeLorean can fetch anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000, or around £55,000 in the UK. Now, if you're looking for one that's been made into a movie replica, expect to pay a lot more. The DeLorean may not be the fastest or most powerful car, but it's definitely one of the coolest, and for that, it earns the top spot on this list. So, that's our list. From Batmobiles to DeLoreans, these cars have all left their mark on cinema history. But which one's your favourite? For me, it's got to be Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds. It was the first car to spring to mind when I was thinking about this list. There's just something about that car I cannot get enough of. Maybe I'll get one day, who knows. What do you think? Did I miss your favourite car or an obvious top car choice? Drop a comment below, let me know which movie car you'd like to add to the list, or tell me what I got wrong. We're also planning on doing a video soon on the best movie motorbikes of all time, so don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell icon for more automotive content, including me working on my own car and bike. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.